The research station's corridors hummed with the familiar thrum of life support systems, but Jack Chen felt only the weight of 2 centuries pressing against his chest. He stood before the sealed chamber that had remained untouched since the day humanity first encountered the Veil Thara, the day everything changed. "You don't have to do this," came Daisy's voice through the comm system. Her fingers danced across holographic displays in the observation deck above, monitoring every vital sign, every electromagnetic fluctuation in the chamber below. The council made their position clear. Some secrets are meant to stay buried. Jack's hand hovered over the biolock scanner. 200 years ago, when humanity had first ventured beyond their solar system, they had been nothing more than curious children stumbling into a galaxy already ancient with power. The Veil Thara had been waiting, beings of pure energy who could manipulate reality itself with mere thoughts. Humanity should have been swept aside like dust before a cosmic storm, but they weren't. Instead, something impossible had happened. One human, a young woman named Sarah Martinez, had somehow matched their power. In the final confrontation that could have meant extinction for Earth, she had stood against the Veil Thara's greatest warrior and won. But the victory had come at a cost. The energy discharge had left her changed, her eyes radiating a power so intense that she had to be blindfolded, locked away in stasis for the safety of everyone around her. "Sarah Martinez," Jack whispered, pressing his palm to the scanner. "The first human to prove we were more than just clever apes with starships." The chamber door hissed open, revealing a figure suspended in a crystalline stasis field. Sarah looked exactly as she had 2 centuries ago. Young, peaceful, her face serene beneath the thick metallic blindfold that covered her eyes. Various monitoring devices surrounded her, their readings unchanged for 200 years of vigilant watching. "Jack, the energy readings are spiking." Daisy's voice carried a note of concern. "Even approaching her is dangerous. The last researcher who tried to remove that blindfold was found turned to glass." But Jack wasn't listening to caution anymore. Humanity had spent 2 centuries living in the shadow of that day, revered across the galaxy as the species that had somehow produced a being capable of matching the Veil Thara, yet never understanding how or why. They had become the galaxy's favorite mystery, welcomed into the cosmic collective not as equals but as curiosities. Every other species possessed some form of psychic or energy manipulation abilities. Humans seemed to be the only ones who were completely mundane, except for Sarah. She was their sole claim to cosmic relevance, and she had been sleeping for 200 years. "The galaxy thinks we're a fluke," Jack said, reaching toward the blindfold's clasps. "One impossible human and billions of ordinary ones. They treat us like pets who accidentally did a miracle." His fingers found the ancient metal clasps. They were warm to the touch, thrumming with contained energy. The moment he made contact, images flashed through his mind. Glimpses of that final battle. Sarah standing against writhing energy forms that towered above her like living stars. "Jack, stop!" Daisy's voice cracked with desperation. "The containment field is fluctuating. If she wakes up, maybe it's time she did." Jack's voice was steady now, filled with a resolve that surprised even him. "Maybe it's time we stopped being afraid of what we are." The first clasp came undone with a soft click that seemed to echo through the chamber like thunder. Energy immediately began leaking around the edges of the blindfold, casting shifting patterns of light across the walls. Jack's vision blurred as pure power washed over him, but he didn't stop. The second clasp. The third. With each one, the energy grew stronger, more intense. Jack could feel it penetrating his cells, changing something fundamental in his DNA. Above him, Daisy was shouting warnings about radiation levels and system failures, but her voice seemed to come from very far away. The final clasp came undone and the blindfold fell away. Jack froze. Sarah's eyes were open, and they weren't eyes at all. They were windows. Windows into the quantum foam that underlay reality itself. Through them, Jack could see the fundamental forces that governed the universe, the strings of energy that connected every particle, every star, every living thing across the cosmos. And in that impossible sight, he finally understood. Sarah wasn't the anomaly. She was the first human to fully awaken. "My God," Jack breathed. And as he spoke, he felt his own eyes beginning to burn with the same impossible light. Throughout the station, alarms began blaring as other humans, Daisy included, started to experience the same awakening. The blindfold hadn't been containing Sarah's power. It had been containing humanity's. For 200 years they had slumbered, their true nature suppressed by their own fear of what they might become. But Sarah had always been awake, waiting patiently for the day when her species would be ready to join her in transcendence. As Jack's vision expanded beyond the physical realm, he saw the truth that would reshape the galaxy. Humans weren't the anomaly among psychic species, they were evolution's next step. While other races had learned to manipulate energy and matter, humanity had been designed for something far greater, to perceive and reshape the very foundations of existence itself. The age of human curiosity was ending. The age of human transcendence had begun. And across the galaxy, elder races who had dismissed humanity as charming primitives suddenly realized they had been harboring not pets, but sleeping gods.